Welcome to Fashion Reverie Talks. I am Cicily Daniels.
I'm Tiana Ibrahimovic.
Fashion Reverie Talks takes you from the front lines of fashion to the front row.
And all of Fashion Reverie Talk segments are based on published content found on fashionreverie.com.
So remember, if you want more information on the segments, go to fashionreverie.com.
So in this episode, we chat with Fashion Reverie's Associate Editor Tessa Swantek about the Gilded Glamor article that she wrote, and we're joined by Fashion Reverie's Editor-in-Chief William Gooch about his article, Gilded Glamour Seen Through the Lens of American Designers.
Now, we start every episode with our fashion news, and our news segments are based on the fashion news alerts found on fashionreverie.com. Okay, let's jump into the current events in fashion. Let's start with you, Tiana.
All right. So what do you think Fendace is, Cicily? Any clues?
I mean, if I hadn't read fashionreverie.com, I don't know. I would be like, is it a new food? Is it a new fragrance? It's a new something. It sounds new. What is it? Tell me about it.
Well, Fendi and Versace have just released their first collaboration. That we kind of all saw this coming after, the little preview we saw, I think, last year. So it is an ode to femininity and friendship. And Kim Jones, creative director of Fendi Couture, said that it's a swap rather than a collaboration. And most of all, it is done out of friendship. It is the beauty of togetherness after time apart and a celebration of women who have inspired me so much. So this collection will be available only in their pop-up stores around the world. And the only physical venues that were actually will showcase the collection. And this starts on May 12th. So it will be under the names Versace by Fendi and Fendi by Versace. So of course, a lot of top models like Naomi Campbell, Iman Hammam will be part of the campaign. So it will be interesting. What do you think?
I mean, I think that for the fashion heads, this is probably if you are a fan of Fendi or Versace, this is one of your once in a lifetime kind of moments, especially if you're a fan of both. So I kind of imagine it's gonna do well. I feel like since it's a nod to friendship, that they should probably send you and I any kind of, merchandise to celebrate our friendship.
You always make such great points.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Nod to femininity, friendship, women. Exactly. That's so us, Tiana.
I agree.
Well, I look forward to seeing the collection. As another nod to fierce women. Now, first of all, when I heard about this, I was like, oh my God, when I grow up, I guess I want a building named after me. Now, Serena Williams, obviously Serena Williams has just done all of the things in addition to being a fantastic athlete and just a huge celebrity. But Nike has named the largest building at Nike World Headquarters after Serena Williams. And it is called the Serena Williams Building. And it is 1 million square feet. It houses lab space for their consumer creations. There are showrooms and workspaces, a footwear materials library, a color lab, a 140-seat Olympia theater that's named after Serena's daughter. I was like, oh my goodness, they are really, what a testament to her influence, not only on sports, but also on fashion. And Serena is quoted as saying that the whole building takes your breath away and that every element everywhere you go is an opportunity to be inspired. And she is already so inspirational to so many of us. So I mean, I'm just excited and amazed. Maybe, one day for some reason I'll get invited to have a tour. It just seems like a really gorgeous building and obviously a gorgeous testament to her and her impact in the world. What do you think?
I mean, it's an interesting idea. I don't know. I'm still kind of trying to process the whole
it's a whole
moment
building
behind it. Yeah,
I mean, I think it's just like to like an honor. Like there's a lot of people who have buildings named after them, wings, libraries, all kinds of things. So I think it's a testament to just kind of her place in society and all that she has done, and much more even what an inspiration she is to women and women pursuing sports and other, kind of other endeavors. That's what I think.
Did her husband invest in this building?
I mean, I don't know, but like we're not really worried about either of them for their finances. So I don't know, but maybe. Another good question. I don't know what's happening always behind the scenes,
I know it's always about the behind the scenes, the way I see it. So it's interesting. But there are also some news with Swarovski. So supermodel Bella Hadid was announced as a new face of Swarovski. I think we all at some point owned something from Swarovski or have, of course, heard of Swarovski crystals. So the new creative director, Giovanna Engelbert, selected Bella as the new face of this iconic brand. Bella was photographed by in a recent campaign where she demonstrated the many faces of Bella Hadid. The transformative crystals show Bella's many moods. And so Giovanna actually said that Bella goes from sporty to glamorous while remaining the same girl with confidence and authority. So that's the new muse of Swarovski. I feel like Giovanna and Bella have things in common. So maybe this is why Giovanna kind of chose her to represent also her vision as a creative director. So those are my thoughts. I think it's a great match. And I like Swarovski. I like what they're doing. So those are my.
I mean, I think it's a cute idea. Like, I do think it was probably a fun shoot. Like, it's nice, like it's nice that there's not just like one look or like kind of one mood being captured. And jewelry is definitely that. I think people wear it at different times to suit their mood. So
and it's finally something that literally everyone can afford,
Yes.
So
good price point. We always like a good price point. Well, that is it for our fashion news of this week. You guys know, always keep it on fashionreverie.com, and you can always stay up to date with what's going on.
So guys, we continue Fashion Reverie Talks with Tessa Swantek, our associate editor, who wrote an article on Gilded Glamor, Understanding 2022 Met Gala theme. Of course, that was the main talk of the at least first week of May, and we continue because the exhibit is still on. So welcome, Tessa. I'm excited to talk about this topic.
Hi, thank you. I'm excited to talk about it.
So let's talk about the theme of the Met Ball for 2022, and what was Gilded Age in New York City?
So first of all, I wanted to say that the exhibit actually opened today. So if anyone wants to see it, they could see it through to September. But the Gilded Age, it was really a time of kind of great wealth suddenly for a lot of people. So it was a lot of new money that kind of underscored a lot of the fashion. There was a lot of mansions being built on Fifth Avenue because of the Vanderbilts and the Carnegies. So it was really a time of glamour. But behind the scenes, you kind of had this it wasn't as glamorous as people thought. So the Met Gala, you could kind of play into this intense level of glamour or what was actually happening behind the scenes. And I was really excited to see what everyone was going to do, especially given the Gilded Age on HBO. I don't know if you've seen that.
Right. The shows. and Bridgerton, right? It's pretty similar fashion. So what are some of the main elements of Gilded Age fashion?
So there's a few. The main element I would say is the silhouette. So you kind of had this big voluminous back that looked really uncomfortable, but you had this huge bustle in the back, and it was basically a bunch of draped fabric. And then
no sitting down in that, or
no,
difficultly.
I don't even know how they sat down. Thinking about it, I don't even know how that worked. And then with that, you had this princess line, which was a vertical seam, tight bodice. So paired with that much volume in the back, you had a really tight bodice, kind of corsetry. And that was the main silhouette of the period. And then you also had synthetic dyes. So there's a really exciting bright color palette that goes along with it, and really heavy adornment. Like, people needed to put on all the jewelry they had at this Met Gala to look on theme.
And some did it well, some did not. So what do you think were the main mistakes people that attended the Met Ball made?
So I think the main mistake that I saw was that some people took the concept of gilded a little too seriously, because gilded means gold leaf, which kind of, if you look into the history, that means that there's a gold leaf surface, but it's not really gold. So there's a lot under the surface that's a bit dark. And I think people ran with the fact that gilded means gold leaf. So a lot of people, like, say, Cardi B, she wore this gorgeous Versace dress, but it was just, she even said on the red carpet, she was like, oh, I think a lot of people are misinterpreting this theme. I think that it's really about being gold. It's not really about a period of time, which is like, if you kind of read what the Costume Institute is doing, it's not really just about the golden element of it. And even though the dress was beautiful, I feel like there could have been a lot more done with that sort of concept and about the gold leaf. I wish someone wore like a gold leaf dress and then did a whole transformation into something like darker, like Blake Lively did a whole reveal, you know, something of that sort.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm trying to remember if there were any gold leaves. I do think Megan Thee Stallion, she had like little wings that reminded of little leaves. So that's probably the closest it came to it. And I think it was a Moschino dress. So what do you think, who followed the theme the best, or who were some of your favorite people or best dressed?
So I think some people kind of went on the nose with it. Like Billie Eilish wore a very classic Gilded Age dress. It was a lavender and green and this like butter yellow corset Gucci dress with a bustle on the back. You had that princess line. But in that case, it's not really modernized. I think the whole point is to kind of modernize these trademarks of the Gilded Age. So I would say I actually thought the best dressed was Normani, who, she didn't really get a lot of coverage, but she wore this like dark Christian Siriano dress, and it kind of had a modernized bustle, a lot of volume to the bottom, and then she had some vertical lines at the top, which is kind of reminiscent of like the Vanderbilt mansion or the princess line, but it's modern.
Was her top cropped? Was it a short top?
It was cropped. So, I mean, you wouldn't have seen that at the time, but there was an element of it where you could pick out the pieces of the Gilded Age, but it wasn't so on the nose of like, it didn't look costuming. And I think the job is to kind of, it's not a costume party, but you show understanding of the theme, and especially in the hat she wore too. I mean, I love that whole look.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about a crop top for the Gilded Age, but I feel like Billie Eilish went too old theme, and and she went too modern. So like maybe if the two ideas blended in a way, it would be good. And
Lively kind of did like a blend of both. I would say maybe Blake Lively, because she did this whole big reveal, and hers was actually based on, I'm pretty sure she said that it was based on architecture at the time. So you had all the colors in it, and it was really beautiful.
yeah, I think it was sort of an ode to Statue of Liberty.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, that's what it was.
And it was gorgeous, gorgeous dress. I just think she's done the same look before. Like she always wears the same type of silhouette.
You're right. Like, I did that at the Met before.
Exactly. So I hope for the next Met we see her in a little bit of a different type of dress.
I hope so. I want to see different things. I think people need to kind of push the bar with it. I think some people don't go as much as they can, and I just really want an exciting Met Gala next year. I want it to be even better.
Great. Well, thank you, Tessa, so much. It's always fun chatting about Gilded Age and fashion.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
So we are not done talking about the Gilded Age at all. Obviously, the Met Gala is a huge event in fashion, as is the exhibit at the Costume Institute of the Metropolitan Museum that inspires the red carpet looks that are seen at the Met Gala. Now, for some of us, you know, we love the exhibit. We kind of like have a deep understanding, but other people might not know as much about Gilded Glamour, about the Gilded Age looks, and particularly about what designers they might look to know more, to find the Gilded Age in fashion now. And I am thrilled to have Fashion Reverie's Editor-in-Chief William Gooch to discuss American designers that are currently employing Gilded Glamour in their design aesthetic. Welcome, William.
I'm back yet again.
We cannot complain. Of course, I always love to see you.
I've never been on this many times consecutively. Well, but you know what? I'm starting to like it more and more. I kind of like to push the guest and my cast of, I shouldn't say cast, but my staff of incredible editors, because they do such incredible work at Fashion Reverie. And I think they deserve more of the spotlight than I do. I'm kind of the Wizard of Oz in the background, orchestrating everything. So, but, you know, I'm back again, and I want to talk about the Gilded Glamour seen through the lens of American designers. And, you know, as you said earlier, Cicily, people go to the Met Gala, they look at the ball, and they think this is wonderful, but this was over 100 years ago, the Gilded Age, you know, 1880s until the early 1900s. What does that mean to my life? And if I do like those silhouettes, where can I buy it? Where can I purchase it? So we decided at Fashion Reverie to come up with 6 designers that are actually making those silhouettes. They use those silhouettes pretty consistently, that you'll find as a Gilded Age silhouette, you know, from the corseted waist, very small waist, to voluminous sleeves, to bold color, and lots of embellishments. Mm-hmm. So there are designers that are consistently doing that, but in a modern way.
Yes.
So that's what I decided to bring together to curate in this article, so that people can actually say, if I like this silhouette, I can go somewhere and buy it.
I love it. Okay, well, we're going to talk about a few of these designers. Now, Bibu Mohapatra is a favorite designer here at Fashion Reverie.
Yes, so, we love him. Love.
Yes. So how do you think that the collections have reflected a Gilded Age aesthetic?
Now, you know, Bibu consistently uses corseted silhouettes, corseted bodices, big skirts, voluminous sleeves. That's really his design DNA. So you will find those elements in almost every collection. But he did one collection in spring 2017 that was inspired by the Belle Epoque. Now, the Belle Epoque era and the Gilded Age era run kind of simultaneously. The Belle Epoque was more in Europe, but the Gilded Age was in the United States, as our wonderful associate editor, Tessa Swantek, explained what that was all about. All the new money, the railroad money, which you'll see in the series Gilded Age, the railroad money, the big bankers, JP Morgan, and their new wealth that was kind of happening in the United States. But in Europe, we had something called the Belle Epoque, which is the beautiful age. That's what the name means. And it was all about being inspired by beautiful women of that time. Have you ever seen the movie Gigi?
Yes.
With Leslie Caron, classic Hollywood film. That was the very first era in Europe. So think about the same silhouettes from the Gilded Age. It's in the Belle Epoque, and Bibhu Mohapatra took that silhouette and modernized it. So he loves voluminous sleeves. You'll see that. He loves the cinched in waist, the tight corseted waist. You'll see that. But what he does is, what he did in that collection, he took fabrics that you normally wouldn't think about, and he used them in the garments. He layered things. So garments that are fabric that's used for your to line a dress, he used those on the outside. Very different, very ingenious. He put certain fabrications and colors together that you normally wouldn't think of. And instead of a bustle, which Tessa said she had no idea how people would sit down in those dresses, he did a bustle too, but it's what you call a faux bustle. And that's a bustle with more material in the back that can accentuate your waist, accentuate your femininity, but it's easier to move in. So instead of having those corsets with all those, like, what's it called? Not horsehair, the boned corset.
Oh yeah.
I forgot. The whalebone. That's what it is. He just had it so that a woman could move a little bit easier nowadays, because women do a lot more than they did 100 years ago. There's a lot more things that women do. They need to move easier. So that's what you will see in his collection. And in the current collection, even though it wasn't as much of a Gilded Age direct aesthetic, it's still there. Beautiful dresses, beautiful gowns with huge sleeves, cinched waist. So Bibhu, we love you. You do it every season. So consumers, buy.
Buy. And I did think of what Tessa was saying, in that, like, these to me do give you that modernized, as like a modern interpretation. Like you said, maybe not an exact, like the idea of the bustle, but makes it much more wearable for like an everyday woman, that there are layers or colors that you might not associate with the Gilded Age, but still the silhouette or the whether it's the waist, or like the like kind of richness, or the like layering of the like fabric. So I think it's that was a gorgeous collection, and I guess some people for the gala should have looked back.
I was thinking the same thing. We should have looked at Bibhu and some of the other designers that we curated for this article.
Exactly. Now, another designer that we love at Fashion Reverie and Fashion Reverie Talks is Byron Lars. Early on, his design aesthetic reflected the corseted garments with the faux bustles. Can you talk about that?
Well, he always does it every season. Season. And he had one collection, I don't think it was his debut collection, I think it was 92, where it was all about that Gibson girl. Now, the Gibson girl look is a look that was a part of the Gilded Age. But the Gibson girl was actually a working class girl. She worked. So you talk about those striped shirts, those kind of pinstripe shirts with a high collar that were pulled in at the waist. Byron does that look every season. This season for spring 2022, he still had that striped collar, that striped shirt, but he made it a shirt dress. So it flowed all the way to the knee. So Byron is always using that silhouette. These are classic silhouettes. So a lot of designers use those silhouettes from the Gilded Age. But Byron, I think, is probably one of the better designers that knows how to modernize it for the way modern women live today. So kudos to Byron, always. And it's always in his collections. Beautiful use of lace, black lace married with denim. It was just gorgeous spring 22 collection. Yeah.
I love that with the pinstripe or the denim, things that can be, maybe not so dressy kind of fabrics that people can, that are more wearable, that people might be more ready to wear to like a lunch, or do you know what I mean? Like, so,
exactly.
A little bit more casual, but they still want to be, have a very fashionable choice. Now, lastly, Christopher John Rogers. Now, I know we have talked about him also as an amazing new American designer that uses the Gilded Age design point of view. Let's talk about him a little bit.
Now, Christopher, one of our favorite models is always in his show, Coco Mitchell. Hello, Coco. Christopher John Rogers loves bold color. So if you think about him loving bold color and the bold color that was used in the Gilded Age, this is a marriage made in heaven. Those two designers, him as a designer and his predilection for bold color and what the Gilded Age represents in bold color. So he looked to his Southern roots for his pre-fall 2022 collection. It's not quite out yet. And he kind of married that with some aesthetics we see from the Gilded Age. Again, the tight waistline, very corseted waist. And he used something that a lot of people don't know comes out in the Gilded Age. He used the trains. Most of the dresses had trains, particularly the formal dresses. So he uses that a lot in his collection. Bold colors, rainbow stripes, you name it, it's in there. And it's a wonderful, wonderful modern way to incorporate those classic silhouettes.
Well, I love his use of color, and y'all know I'm never afraid to bring the drama. So always give me a dress with the train, and I don't know where I am. Always think I'm going. I'll always choose a dress with the train. Well, these are three of the designers profiled. Of course, all of the information, of course, we keep you on top of the Met Gala, on top of Gilded Age fashion. We have everything you need to know at fashionreverie.com. William, thank you so much for joining me for this.
And I want to say one last thing.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
Stylists for the Met Gala, if you don't know where to go to get the right gown for your client, contact fashionreverie.com.
Hey!
We can tell you who to get the clothes from.
I know that's right. Well, stylists,
And pay us.
Oh, and pay us. Okay, well, that's not my department, but I do know where to point you to go. Thank you
so
William,
much
for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Well, viewers, that's it for this episode of Fashion Reverie Talks.
We would like to thank our Editor-in-Chief, William Gooch, and Associate Editor Tessa Swantek for joining us.
For information on these and other stories, go to fashionreverie.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.